ng housing. At syempre, dahil nga may housing, may mga taong nakatira na doon, nagkaroon na ng demand for other necessities or other products like bakeries, perhaps hospitals, boutiques, mga kung ano-ano pa. No, so yun, kaya nagkaroon ng distinction between urban and rural. So you can just imagine, 'di ba, how drastic the changes were in the lives of the people. So ganyan din, maraming naging industrial revolutions na because of the introduction of new technology. And what often happens is that workers become displaced, no? Meaning, because of these technological advancements, may mga trabaho na magiging ano na, obsolete. Ibig sabihin, hindi na kailangan ng tao para gawin yon, yung machine na yung gagawa nun. So, but at the same time, no, especially for the fourth industrial revolution that we are in today, experts are saying that we shouldn't be alarmed kasi meron din namang mga trabaho daw na ma-generate out of or because of this new development. So we'll see kung paano mangyayari in the future. Yeah. Pero that's one perfect example, one great example of social change, yung Industrial Revolution. So we'll now be going over very briefly dun sa factors that promote social change or allow for social change to happen. We have four. The first one is cultural diffusion. So obviously because of increased connections with other cultures, we are now cultures become nagiging concentrated lang sa share ng tago sa mga lipunan na previously hindi exposed sa ganitong mga ideas. Yung sa technology, yun nga yung sinabi natin sa Industrial Revolution. Sa climate change naman, ito yung, syempre, hindi naman pwede na sobra na tayong binabagyo transportation natin. Even siguro sa mga works, collective action definitely is also one of the things that promote social change or allow for social change to happen. So one of the great examples, of course, is the um, movement, no, suffragette movement, particularly since it's Women's Month, ang gagamitin ko yung pambaba, yung for women's rights na example. So obviously, prior to the first wave of feminism, prior to the suffragette movement, women were not allowed to own property. Women were held at a subversive, sorry, hindi subversive yung pala yun. What's the word that I'm looking for? Subservient, I guess, na role. Mababa ang tingin sa mga kababaihan, belittled, so on and so forth. And because of the series no of efforts of women starting from the first because of the suffragette movement, unti-unti no nag-improve yung joy ng mga kababaihan. So have an example, of course, na connected dun sa first industrial revolution, yung conditions ng factory workers. No? So since that was the first time that a lot of people were employed under one employer, tag dito, nagkaroon ng yung klase ng working conditions na meron sila were not good, of course. They were expected to work I think 8 to 10 hours a day and 7 days a week. So yung konsepto ng weekend ay kinailangan pa nilang ilaban through organizing themselves and yun nga demanding it from their employers. No? So because of unions, nagkaroon tayo ng mga ganitong ine-enjoy natin ngayon. Yung mga leave, yung mga weekend, ganyan. So that's again another example of how collective action can contribute to social change. But there are also factors, of course, that inhibit social change or prevent social change from happening. So because of social norms, habits, and values. So the example that I'm going to use here is Korean culture. So if you're not yet aware, it's about time that we become aware that Korean culture is actually very, very sexist. I had a student before who said that she went to a rally before or sa Korea ng Korean student to to. Pumunta sila ng rally sa Korea for women's rights. Tapos, they had to wear a mask, they had to wear a cap, and they had to tie their hair up kasi they took measures so that they couldn't be identified. Kasi baka iharas sila, baka, alam mo yun, magkaroon ng consequences sa kanilang day-to-day life. So that's just one manifestation of how sexist their culture is. And one of the reasons why um countries like Korea or cultures like Korea, Japan, perhaps find it difficult to accommodate yung ganitong mga progressive ideas, progressive changes, is because of their regard for their elders. That's a social value, di ba? Yung high regard for elders or respect for elders. If you're going, well, tayo din naman sa Pilipinas, no? We respect our elders. It's manifested in our language. We have certain practices that point to that. But yung sa kanila kasi ibang level, no? Specifically sa South Korea, di ba? Manifested din sa language nila yon, pati sa dynamics na meron sila, halimbawa yung sunbe, hube, mga ganito, yung mga junior, senior. So uh, they're not allowed. Di ka nga pwedeng uminom ng, yes, honorifics, thank you, Aliyah. Di ka nga pwedeng uminom, di ka nga pwedeng makitang uminom, di ba, ng mas matanda sa'yo. Kailangan mong takpan, mga ganyan. Sorry, I'm not mocking. Sorry. I feel like it came off as that. I'm not mocking, Korean culture. I'm just showing the manifestations of yung kanilang high regard for their elders. So they're really not allowed to say anything against their elders. Halimbawa, they disagree with the idea of the elder, even if they know it's not right, they're going to go with it kasi hindi nga nila pwedeng questionin yung mga mas nakakatanda sa kanila. Of course, if you have that kind of setup, you're not going to be able to have progressive changes, di ba? So, ayun. So that's one of the yes, thank you, filial piety. So this is also influenced by their, I guess, by the Chinese influence to them of, I think Taoism, no, yung kanilang, no, sorry, Confucianism, yung kanilang, ayan, kasama nga doon yung sa ideas on hierarchy, pero social cohesion and all that. So yun, so those are, that's an example of how social values that we have might actually inhibit, no, social change from happening. Okay. So this is the last topic before we take a 15-minute break. So these are the different theoretical perspectives in sociology. So these theoretical perspectives are the frameworks that we use if we want to analyze, if we want to understand people and their society. So yung first two siguro, pagsamahin ko na sila kasi lagi naman silang pinagsasama. The first one is functionalism. So ang proponent natin dito, excuse me, main proponent, I see Durkheim, Emile Durkheim. And what's the main assumption of, or what's the main focus of functionalism is the function of social institutions. No? So ano ba yung purpose na sinuserve ng social institutions? And there are concepts, no, that I'd like to share with you in relation to this. So Mooney et al., so this is from a research that they conducted, grounded theory. So they came up with the concept function and dysfunction. So function is, yun nga, ano ba yung silbi? Ano ba yung purpose ng actual purpose ng isang social institution? And then dysfunction naman, yung inability of that institution to serve its actual function, and yung ginagawa niya ay nakaka-contribute pa sa disruption, no, ng social order or ng social cohesion. So for example, if the media's function is to disseminate information,